To the feature match here. It is time for round number 12. Let's go. Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Oklahoma City. We're ready for round 12 where we've got a smiling Reid Duke and a smiling Paul Rietzl ready to battle. I think those smiles will go away soon, Randy. Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Randy Bueller. And we're underway here. So Duke's on 4-color zoo. He's playing Geist of St. Traft in his list as well for the blue there.
Yeah.
Paul Rietzl's on a much more streamlined list, though. He's on Merfolk. A lot of 4-ofs in this deck.
It's a ton of creatures, too. I mean, as Merfolk decks go, this one is over 30 creatures in the deck.
Jeez.
The spells, well, there's a Vapor Snag, and then Spreading Seas Aether Vial.
Wow. Speaking of Aether Vial, there's one. Paul Rietzl with that critical turn 1 Aether Vial. You know, it's really good against some decks, but if you're going to play it, you want it on turn 1 in this deck. That's why they run the full 4. So Paul seeing that in his opener is a big deal. Now, here's a Scavenging Ooze for Reid Duke. Not one of the most aggressive starts he can have here for his 4-color zoo
Yeah, it's
deck.
a 1-of Scavenging Ooze. You know, he's Tarmogoyf, Voice of Resurgence, Noble Hierarch, Nakatl, Geist, 4 Knight of the Reliquary, and 2 Elspeth Knight Errant.
So a little slower. He's got 1 step slower zoo.
Yeah, this is not a Naya Burn deck.
Right.
This is your, the zoo is full of creatures.
Yes. All right, and looks like Paul decides to do nothing so far. Usually you'll see a 2-drop.
Yeah, what's he holding that?
No.
He doesn't have. I mean, the vial's on 1, so he could be easily putting a Curse Catcher into play off the vial. That's the only real 1-drop in the deck. But the fact that he's got Island and is not playing anything is quite unusual.
It's very strange. Yeah, Vapor Snag. He could have a Kira, but there's so many. He's got, 5 cards in his hand or something?
Right.
It's very
I mean,
weird.
I guess you can keep a hand with a bunch of, like, Regeries, Master of the Waves. He could have.
He does have a Master of Waves in his hand. I saw that. He's running 4 of those. Yep. And here we go, kind of plodding along here for Duke. He's got the Knight of the Reliquary right on time, turn 3. But yeah, just stone, no turn 2 play at all for Rietzl. He just didn't play anything. See that Master of Waves right at the front of his hand. Did vial in a Curse Catcher at least for the turn.
I mean, I guess if your draw is Vial, Curse Catcher, Master, a couple of lands, you're going to keep just about anything. Right, if you've got if 5 of your 7 cards are Vial, Curse Catcher, Island, Master, I don't even know what the 2 cards are that you would mulligan from there.
Sure. Yeah, by now Paul will also have an idea of what Reid Duke is playing.
Sure.
So he can, kind of choose his mulligan decision on that. Here's a Spreading Seas for Rietzl. Kind of interesting. Can take his opponent off of red here. He's going to use it on the Breeding Pool.
No green mana for you.
Now, the Knight of the Reliquary can still fix that problem.
True. Yeah, the Spreading Seas would have certainly been more disruptive last turn.
Yeah.
Presumably was the draw for the turn. He wouldn't have slow rolled it and just squander 2 mana.
Yeah, Spreading Seas really well utilized by this Merfolk deck. Since so many of the Merfolk end up getting Island Walk, it basically makes your creatures unblockable. Of course, you get the card back, and some decks really get punished as well.
It's even a blue mana pip for Master of the Waves.
Indeed. Yeah, that's a nice little bonus as well. Looks like Rietzl's just going to take the 2 damage from the ooze here, though we do anticipate.
Yeah, Windswept Heath meant he was threatening. Well, I guess there's no creatures in the graveyard
No,
yet, but
not yet.
And there's the Geist.
There's Geist. All right.
May as well tap it and activate it. I would be surprised if Paul has a 2-drop. Guess he could have top decked it off Spreading Seas. He did. He top decked it off Spreading Seas.
He also could have been waiting.
You would decline to play Harbinger?
Maybe. Getting the 2 pips is pretty important, especially if he's going to try to go for the turn 4 Master Waves here, but...
Man, the tempo in that Harbinger, too. We talked about how it's really good at busting up the twin combo. It's good at generating blue pips and being a Merfolk that can get enhanced by all your lords. But just bouncing a tapped creature is pretty good, too. The tempo swing you get from that card feels like exactly the kind of thing this Merfolk deck wants. Wow, Seth Manfield has already taken game 1 from Brad Nelson. I'm going to guess that was a twin combo.
Yeah, it must have been.
All right. Aether Vial for 3. Here's Kira. The Glass Spinner.
Great Glass Spinner is going to potentially throw a wrench in the works here.
Well, I mean, not only does it thwart any potential removal spells, it's also 2 blue pips. If Paul goes Land Master.
Totally.
With Kira playing defense, this is kind of insane.
This is.
Does he have a land, the 4th land for the Master?
Don't think he does. He's got Phantasmal Image, Master of Waves, something. That's his hand.
Okay. Aether Vial get him to Master next turn. I mean, presumably he'll take that up to 4.
To guarantee being able to play it.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
He can even play the Master off the Aether Vial and then use Phantasmal Image to copy it. Meanwhile, guys who saying draft is just like, I don't know. I'm usually pretty good.
But Rietzl at 16 looks pretty safe here, huh?
I mean, with no lords, I guess the Geist does trade. But I mean, I'm pretty sure Paul would just stick Harbinger in front of it. I don't know. Maybe you're willing to take it? You probably have to block. It's tricky, right? I mean, Paul's Masters are kind of ridiculous, but there's a limit to how many times he wants to get hit in the air with 4/4 Angels.
That's true. He will be able to have Master next turn and have a pretty expendable Elemental to trade off with the Geist, but...
So he could just decline to block, taking 6 and then knowing that he'll take 4 the next time Reid turns it sideways. Maybe you're okay with that. To get 2 more Elementals? I don't know. I think I would block it.
This is scary, right? Like if you're...
I mean, how good does your Master need to be? It's your 2 Masters, too, thanks to the Phantasmal Image.
Yeah.
Like, isn't, 2, 3, 4, 5? 5 tokens is probably enough.
Probably enough.
And the Knight of the Reliquary is coming over.
Yeah, the Knight's huge now. It's a 6/6. Yeah, I think Rietzl's
Yeah, you have to block Geist. Because even now, if you block Geist, you're still taking 10. Block Geist, take 10 down to 6. Even 6 is scary. Can't block and trade with the Knight. He could chump it with Curse Catcher.
Could. I mean, even his Master Waves is still pretty good in that scenario. Even if you take Curse Catcher and Harbinger off the table.
Now it's 4.
Yeah.
Plus you can copy it.
Yep.
And make 5.
Yeah. And you can
that's good enough.
You can tick up your Vial, play it, and copy it in the same turn.
Yeah.
It's just
good enough.
They're 3/2s. Like.
Yeah. So Paul does chump with the Curse Catcher. Takes only the 4 from the Angel. Here's that Scavenging Ooze that we saw get bounced previously, and Tarmogoyf has also joined the team.
The thing is, the Master of Waves plan just does so well against this.
Yes. Yes, it does.
And as he goes up to 4, Reid Duke is going to be like, oh, no, because there's only 1 4.
And Kira's playing defense, so it's not like
he
Reid
actually drew the land as well, but...
Funny. Yeah, I mean, Paul's draws been surprisingly awkward for a draw that looks like it's still in position to crush.
I think he is going to crush. Kira has flying, so she's just going to cruise over for a couple of damage here. And, yeah, I think we just double trouble it here.
Does he get a rejury? No, he's going to play 4?
Yep.
Pays 4 for Master of Waves.
Thank God. Tomographic come back. Felt lost without him.
if he's tapping 4, instead of tapping the Aether Vial, does that mean he has another one? Or is he just bluffing that he has another one?
Certainly representing it.
Right. I mean, why would you tap 4 mana if you have Phantasmal
I don't know.
Image in your hand unless you have a second master?
Look at Reid. Oh, man. I think the question that you just asked is the one that's going through his head right now.
Paul has certainly represented a second copy of Master of Waves.
Paul's at 12 life. Ostensibly out of burn range here.
Just has to shift the turn. 6/6 Knight of the Reliquary. Scavenging Ood's got 3 creatures to eat. Tarmogoyf is around. Wow, that was a bluff from Paul. No second copy of Master. No Aether Vial activation at 4. Now he can copy it.
All right, there's Phantasmal Image.
When do I choose this? When it enters the modified choose, right?
You know, one interaction I haven't seen before. I'm curious if you know how this works.
Oh,
Randy,
Kira
is-
Master Phantasmal Image?
Yeah, it still gets targeted, right? So it will still get sacrificed, even though Kira technically is kind of protecting it with that other trigger. Like, you still can target the thing. So
Kira
that's all that
counters.
matters, right?
Kira is a triggered ability that counters the thing that targeted it.
Right. So that does not save the Phantasmal Image in that scenario.
But now the Phantasmal Image choosing what creature to copy is not the targeted effect that gets
Correct.
countered by Kira.
Yes, that's just a choice.
Now, the Phantasmal Image is, however, protection from red. So, I mean, many of the spells that could target it can't because it's prot red. Though, to be fair, Reid has Bant Charm in his deck. Can't target it with the Lightning Helix or the Lightning Bolt, but he has 4 path to Bant Charm.
Yeah, I mean, Reid's staring at a Lightning Helix in front of his hand right now.
Yeah, prot red saves it from that. At least I assume he's choosing Master. Oh, Reid has got to okay. Phantasmal Image is on the stack, and Reid is deciding whether to respond. They clarified the Kira interaction, but I mean, Reid might want to try to kill, say, Kira and knock some blue pips off the board before that Phantasmal Image resolves.
He's going to burn a couple of spells to get Kira out of here. No, he did let it resolve.
Okay, so the trigger's on the stack. It hasn't made any sea ponies yet.
This is illusion trigger.
And he's going to respond with another Master off the vial? He did have it.
Of course he does.
Had it the whole time.
So he declined to set this up.
Man, I would have
Or
just
he top
gone
decked it.
for it. Yeah, he could have ripped it too, I suppose.
What?
So doing it this way does get him an additional sea pony.
Yep. Because he got E.
Yeah. But I mean,
Active-
the main thing is just that he has another Master of Waves, and so he's just getting a
Now, doesn't the
million of
Image's triggered ability still resolve?
Oh, absolutely. And they all still live
There you
because
go.
he's got a Master that's on there giving it 1 toughness.
And we have officially run out of elemental tokens.
Yeah, Paul Rietzl just ran us out of cardboard here.
Only 12. Not good enough.
They're all 3/2s.
15 elemental tokens.
What is he doing? That's so ridiculous. And poor Reid is playing these like dumb green creatures that are like how do I attack?
That have come out and been just fine. I
Yeah.
mean, Scavenging Ooze is a 4/4. Knight of the Reliquary is a 6/6.
So he's got 45 power just on the elementals down there. The Masters pump.
Oh, more elementals.
Oh, he found more. Take that, Rietzl. You're going to need to draw another one to run us out.
We'll put them in 5 so they're countable. 3 rows of 5.
And Kira Great Glass Spinner still sitting there like
playing defense,
you're going to need multiple removal spells to get through this mess. Rietzl's got to be having fun with this deck, right? I mean, that's just stupid. Look at that.
Yeah, I've seen him post to Twitter a couple times just saying deck's great, deck's great. And it does look great.
Yeah, it seems like such a great Rietzl-style deck, too. You know, I think back to Amsterdam, you know, when he was playing a white deck, but it had just enough disruption at just the right times to get him where he needed to go.
The flies in the future matchup.
Do we have a rule about creatures next to lands?
Paul's breaking the rule because he doesn't have room. That's great.
In front of and next to seems okay.
Now, the good news for Reid is that the elementals are not Merfolk. But the bad news is he's getting attacked for 45 damage here.
47.
Oh! It wasn't done yet.
I don't think you attack with the Masters.
I suppose not.
You're like, okay, you block 3 of these, so I still hit you for... Yeah, I mean, the question is, if Reid throws 2 removal spells, 2 non-red removal spells at a Master, that doesn't matter, so whatever.
3 of them die. It takes 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20.
Still very dead, right?
24. Very dead.
This is just Reid letting seeing if Paul's going to reveal anything more about his deck.
Or maybe he's just learning about combat. Like, you get to hear Paul Rietzl talk through this whole thing, right?
Oh, okay. Paul's going to leave some on defense.
Yeah, Paul's smart.
Does make sense. I mean, reach creatures are big enough that Paul should be a little bit nervous about his life total should somehow enough removal spells come flying down.
Paul playing around fog here.
So he's playing around like triple Path to Exile, I guess.
The other 3 paths, if there are 4.
I mean, he's got the luxury of playing around scenarios like that. Yeah, fog's what he's really playing around, I think. Can't imagine that
the
Reid would
main
have
deck
a
fog from the 4-color zoo deck. You know, you can never be too careful.
All right. Lightning Bolt targets Kira and gets countered.
Okay. What is Reid thinking about?
I mean, can he kill Kira and then kill Master?
I mean, we know that he's got... Yeah, no, he's just going to pack him in here.
The thing is, even killing one Master isn't good enough because none of the elemental tokens die. He has to kill both the Masters.
Look at the smile on Reid's face. Jeez. I'm supposed to be beating down. So Paul Rietzl takes game 1. Remember, both of these players are sitting at 10-1, looking for a nice little run into the top 8 here, but they've still got work to do. One's going to walk away with a loss here as well, which is going to ratchet up that pressure even further.
Yeah, I mean, those guys have a loss to give, though. Seth Manfield and Brad Nelson, on the other hand, do not. Elimination match from a top 8 point of view, although still plenty of pro points available and plenty of money available for these guys, even with a loss here.
All right, so our world champ, Seth Manfield, looks like he's lining up a Tassiger here. He's facing down 2 Tarmogoyfs. There's a Tarmographic. He's back to, looks like at a 3-4 right now.
Is that Liliana in play? No, it was revealed to Dark Confidant. Okay, that's what I thought. It's interesting that the black-green X decks have all chosen X equal to R this weekend. It's Jund and not Abzan. That's been the weapon of choice for most of the black-green players.
There's that Liliana that we saw.
Comes
He's
into
gonna
play
use
with
that.
1 loyalty.
Yeah, that means that Seth is going to be sacrificing a creature here, and they both look like pretty good targets.
Right. Brad's probably, yeah, well, one of them. Either one will do. Either you lose your blocker, and I get to hit you.
For, I think, 8. I don't think there's actually a creature in the yard currently. It's like they all got
Sorcery,
exiled.
land, planeswalker. Yeah, sorcery, land, planeswalker.
Yeah, so 3/4. So a creature hitting the yard would make it 4/5.
Yeah. Either you lose your blocker or you lose your ability to combo kill me next turn.
Yeah,
And I'm okay either way.
it looks like Seth is kind of
Makes sense.
relegating
Preserving the ability to
himself.
combo kill next turn.
exactly.
Oh, jeez.
Or not.
Not only killing the Exarch, but also putting an instant into the graveyard.
And that's going to even things up. Brad Nelson says, not so easy, my friend. You may be the world champ, but you've got a little more work to do. We're going to get a game 3 out of these two. Let's not forget about the Magic Online Community Cup coming up next weekend. You can see some of your favorite streamers and Magic personalities duking it out against Wizards of the Coast.
Like the SSL account.
Bunch of employees from Wizards.
We've also got another debut coming up this week. The Modern Super League kicks off on Tuesday with Reid Duke among the 8 competitors.
Anybody who's into this GP, who tunes in to watch Modern, who loves Modern, they're going to love to see
There
the
you
Modern
go.
Super League. Take a look at some of the big names. Randy, you really put in some overtime with the networking on this one. You got some great names here. Luis is in there. Reid Duke you just mentioned. Willie Adel. He's a Modern super fan. He loves the format. Sigrist, Player of the Year. Cedric Phillips. We don't get to see him play very often. That's great. Patrick Dickman, another Modern staple type person. Li Tian, he has crushed Modern in his career as well. And we got Sean McLaren down there. Well, he did pretty well in Modern.
This should be fun.
He won.
This should be a lot of fun. I'm pretty happy, too, with the international flavor we've gotten to the Modern Super League. Li Tian
I don't
playing
know how
from
the hell
Hong
you
Kong.
talked him into that, man.
I was just...
Hey, would you like to wake up at 3 in the morning and play on Magic Online? Sure.
Patrick Dickman will be playing at about 3 in the morning. Willie's got to stay up past midnight. I think it's actually not that hard for Li Tian. It's just like tomorrow
It's
afternoon.
just a different day or whatever.
Yeah, it's noon the next day.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that should be fun.
6 o'clock Pacific on Tuesday, 9 o'clock Eastern.
All right, so get a look at our main match here. Reid Duke down a game. He had to face off against Paul Rietzl, who had Cure, Great Glass Spinner, and a flurry. He had 15 3/2 elemental tokens in that first game, really kind of taking his time with his Aether Vial to set that situation up. And that was just too much for what Reid Duke could handle in that spot. I mean, he has spot removal in his deck. He's got bolts, he's got paths, he's got a lightning helix floating around in his list as well. It's just the Kira really threw a wrench in it, and the protection from red on the Master Waves too.
Yeah, it's a one of Kira for Paul. He was pretty happy to have it that draw. But I mean, he had to have something in his draw, right? He had no 2-drops.
Right. I mean, Reid did some impressive things. He had a 6/6 or a 7/7 Knight of the Reliquary. He had a Scavenging Ooze going. He had a Goyf, but it wasn't enough. This time, though, I think we're actually going to see a 1-drop here from Reid as he's cracked his Wooded Foothills immediately. Maybe get a Wild Nicottle on the battlefield. Yeah, there it is. I know a lot of people love Wild Nicottle. We're pretty happy when it got reinstated here in Modern.
Legendary permanent.
That's a
Paul's
school,
lands are kind of fun. He's got both a one of Manamo and a one of Oboro.
because why not?
Sometimes you want to untap Kira, right?
There you go.
Oh, I guess it's anti-choke tech, too.
Kind of.
I mean, it turns on Blood Moon, but you've got 11 basic islands.
You're probably fine. Yeah, you got Mutavaults. I don't know. So
Probably is worth having a couple of non-basic blue sources against choke. It's actually probably a real thing.
So Reid able to attack for 2 with his Nicottle, but he didn't have a Plains at the ready here. So it's only 2. Oh, geez. That's aggressive. Paul Rietzl just fires off the Spreading Seas right away on the Stirring Wildwood. That's going to cut white mana from Reid Duke here. Yep, cancel that order. There's Windswept Heath.
I mean, it also turns off the Stirring Wildwood, right?
Down the line, sure.
Not going to turn into a creature.
Sacred Foundry untapped here for Duke, so now the Wild Nacatl's fully charged up as a 3/3. He's going to drop Paul Rietzl down to 15 in battle, and you got to assume he's got a 2-drop to follow up here as well, so much better start for Reid than the first game where he kind of went 2-drop, 3-drop. It was a little slow. And there we go, Knight of the Reliquary. That's already a 4/4 as well, so 7 power on the board here on turn 3 for Reid Duke, and he's already got Rietzl down to 15 as well, so Paul's not going to be able to play such a reactive game. We saw no Aether Vial on turn 1 from him here either. Rietzl's sideboard does not look amazing against what Reid's got going on here. He's got a couple of Vapor Snags, Remand, Spellskite, which could be good. Spell Pierce, not so good. Relic of Progenitus, Dismember. You know, the Dismember looks nice, but he's got 4 Hercules recall in his sideboard. Like he has kind of set up for a different game plan here.
Right, this is a guy in Paul who's been playing Affinity in Modern in most tournaments recently. He respects the power of the Affinity.
All right, so there's that one of Kira Great Glass Spinner again for Rietzl, but it does look very slow here. Does not have an effective block on what Reid Duke's presented here. Reid also has played another Wooded Foothills, which is going to make the Knight of the Reliquary even bigger. It's going to send both creatures into the red zone. All right, no blocks, so that means that Reid gets to crack his Wooded Foothills, bringing the Knight of the Reliquary up to 5/5. And making this attack for 8. Now Reid's got to figure that Paul's trying to set up for another Master Waves here, right?
That's what it feels like to me. Yeah, it's also by far the best thing Paul could do. Master gives him a bunch of ground creatures to block with.
And he's just going to play a Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, I mean, what else is he going to do? He needs to be able to attack on the ground. He's got to get the biggest creatures possible and hope that Paul can't string enough Masters together to prevent that.
Tarmographic will tell us that it's a 1/2 currently. It's just lands in the graveyard right now.
Missiles, naming Merfolk, and Master of Waves.
All right, well.
4?
Uh-oh. Look at this. Reid Duke's ready. Magma Spray, and he's also got a Lightning Bolt here. And that is going to be huge here because it means his removal is going to be unlocked next turn, and he gets 2 fewer elementals. He's just going to get 1.
No, 2.
Or 2,
Spreading Seas.
Sorry I forgot about the Spreading Seas. So he's just going to get 2. That does not look nearly as impressive. Also, we'll note here that Reid Duke, none of his creatures are red, so he can rumble right through the Master Waves or not have it just sit there and block all day.
Magma Spray was a 1-of in from the sideboard. Reid knew he might need to point 2 removal spells at Akira.
Yeah, it's annoying, right? I mean, you don't want to have to 2-for-1 yourself like that, but
it's better than seeing 2 more elementals.
Oh yeah,
and having Kira hang out. Yeah, Reid just gets to brawl.
He's just rumbling.
Paul doesn't have great blocks here, I don't think. Like,
the other good news for Reid is that that did pump his Tarmogoyf up to a 3/4, getting a creature in an instant in the yard by taking out Kira. So it's all coming up Reid Duke here as he's able to maintain maximum pressure.
What is this? Is like a double block and a chump block?
Yeah, he's attacking for 11 here.
This looks like a double block and a chump block to me. I don't think he can take... I guess hypothetically he can take Nacatl and Tarmogoyf and drop to 1.
Yes.
But, so how big is the Knight?
It's a 5/5.
Bummer.
So he doesn't even have a double block on that kills it. I think you double block Tarmogoyf and chump the knight.
Take 3, go to 4.
Right.
I'm going to blame the Tarmographic for that. He oversteps his bounds sometimes. Paul looking at his hand, trying to figure out what does this look like going forward.
He looks like he's lining up a single chump.
Yeah, I mean, the only risk here is if Reid had a way to get rid of spreading seas at instant speed, he would be dead, but that seems unlikely.
Yeah, if he just goes with a single chump block, then he'll have the master. I believe he has a second master in his hand, is why this is, he doesn't really want to block with the master if he can help it, because he wants the blue mana pip and he wants the pump ability. So if he takes single chump block and drop to 1, then he can play a second master for 3 tokens that will then be 3 power. Yeah, I mean, having a total of 4 3-power tokens next turn does start to give him some good blocks. Now, he's decided he just loses to all burn spells, but Reid was empty-handed after killing Kira last turn. So Paul's line makes a lot of sense.
Paul finds an island on the top of his deck here.
I think he has another master in his hand, doesn't he? I saw Lord of Atlantis at least. I think there's a second master in there.
I don't see one.
Oh, it's 2 lords and a Regery. Yeah, if he's got to cast, he's got to use the Mutavault to cast the Regery, so that he's got blue for the Lord. So Regery gives all the Merfolk +1/+1. Master of Waves is a Merfolk. Elemental token, however, is not. Not interested in blocking with Master.
Well, I think he's just going to untap it after he plays the...
sure, he can sneak in and
lords.
attack for 3.
Yeah.
And then use the Lord to untap it. Paul has gone to 1.
He's doing math.
He's willing to lose to any removal spell, but Reid's empty-handed, so he knows it would have to be off the top. Not a reach creature's trample. They're all on the ground. Oh, the elemental too? All right. Just the master?
Just a master.
So 3 damage, and now Lord of Atlantis comes down. Regery lets him untap a permanent he controls. He'll choose the master. And if he'd attacked with the elemental, he would have essentially said, I've got 3 blockers. I'm obliged to block all 3 of your attackers. So he would lose to Path to Exile. He would lose to anything, basically. This way, he's got 4 blockers, although Path still kills him. Path kills the master, and the elemental token goes down.
So we have about 17 minutes. Okay.
But this way, he's not obliged to block with everybody. He can pick and choose what he's going to block.
Still, things looking really bad for Paul Rietzl here.
Well, don't forget he's got Island Walk. Like, he's got 3/6. He's got Reid dead next turn with Island Walking Merfolk.
It's just that he has to chump block each of, or block
They're not
each
chump
of
blocks.
these.
He has to block them. Yes. Reid has basically said...
There's one not chump block, right? That's a chump. That's a chump. He can trade for the Nicodle here with his Lord. But, I mean, he's just getting ran over here. Reid Duke has a Windswept Heath sitting there to make the Knight of the Reliquary bigger if he needed to. And it was just a land off the top for Duke. He's all in.
Oof, Master.
Was that Master off the top?
It was.
Oh, man. Wow. He got a land from Mutavault here, too, if he wants it. Uh-oh.
Yeah, it was a trade for Tarmogoyf, by the way, not a chump block.
Oh, you're right. It was a trade for Tarmogoyf.
Master of the Pearl Trident, untap an island. Master of Waves, untap an island. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elemental tokens. And oh, by the way, Mutavault powers up. That and the Reejury come over for, I don't think it's 10, but it's close. It's 4, 5. Mutavault is also an elemental. That's 8 damage?
8 damage.
So Reid's at 2. Reid has to, and even so, what does Reid have to draw? Path kills the Master, but he can chump block with the Lord.
Yeah.
Math kills Master of Waves. Master of Pearl Trident can block. I don't know what Reid can draw. Reid can draw a burn spell to the face. Knock the top of the deck, draw a Lightning Helix.
Did you see what he did?
He peeked to see what he was going to draw.
He was going to draw it.
Yeah, this has to be a burn
this
spell
has to be
point
a burn
at Paul's
spell.
face.
God, Paul just would not give up on this game.
Paul doesn't die easy.
No, man, he is.
We've learned that he's the
kill.
stubbornest guy, stubbornest
my
aggro
God.
player for sure.
So this can be a Lightning Bolt or the one of Lightning Helix.
Knock the top of the deck.
See if
and
the
slam
Reid
it.
Dukes can hit. This is a big cut. Here we go. He did not immediately play it.
Reid is not going to slow roll that much.
And that has hit Paul Rietzl.
Wow.
Dang. That was insane.
That Merfolk deck's great.
He was so far behind. Paul just ground that out.
Yeah, there was a chump block, and then there was a turn with some decent blocks and some jump blocks.
You know, I bet you anything Paul's just kicking himself for not attacking with that extra elemental because it gave him a draw step.
It's true. It's true. He could have closed it out one draw step sooner.
Yeah. That's just how Paul rolls, you know. Oh, I punted. Got lucky against Reid Duke, you know. All right, so let's jump over. God, Paul Rietzl's just, man, so tough.
11-1.
11-1.
Yeah, he's just got to go, you know. What? There's 3 rounds left?
3 more.
I mean, 1-1, he might get to draw. 2-0, he's certainly in.
Okay.
I don't know if he's going to get to draw 1,500 players.
He's rolling right along, too, man.
I don't know that he's going to need to draw.
Yeah.
He doesn't even have to ask that question until he loses one.
Yeah, no kidding.
Does not seem interested in losing with that deck.
God, he played that so well.
Yeah, only round he's lost was round 9 yesterday.
So we're on game 3 here, by the way, with Seth Manfield versus Brad Nelson. And this is a really important one for these guys. They're both sitting at 9-2. This is effectively an elimination match. You pick up a loss here and go to X and 3, and your hopes for the top 8 are pretty much gone. So we've got Jund versus Grixis Twin, and it looks like a Vendilion Click is sort of chipping away in the air, but Tarmographic tells us that there's a 3-4 plus Liliana of the Veil down there on Brad Nelson's side, and it looks like it's Brad's turn as we hit. Yeah, he looks like he's going to fire off maybe a hand disruption spell of some sort here. No, it's got more than that. Scavenging Ooze. He's going to just get rid of Liliana right now.
Sure.
So I'd prefer you to not have a Vendilion Click. I'm assuming that Tarmogoyf is going to go to a 4-5 with the Planeswalker hitting the battlefield, or hitting the graveyard, excuse me. And maybe there wasn't a creature in the yard, too, because I see that it looks like Seth's graveyard is all exiled. But right now, the ability from Liliana is on the stack, and Seth's trying to decide if he's going to have a response to that. looks like pre-combat here. We're going to see a Deceiver Exarch hit.
And you can see what Seth was debating was whether to lose the Exarch to the Liliana. Didn't matter. Brad had a Maelstrom Pulse anyway.
Yeah, he just pulsed it in the second main phase there. That was another decision that Seth had to make, is you can play the Exarch and not be dead on board.
Yeah, no
get
fourth
to untap with it. But
no fourth land for Seth. Seems like it's pinched his development this game.
He seems way behind here.
Yeah.
2 creatures out. Nothing for Seth after he had that Exarch pulsed. He is facing lethal damage as well, and that's it. The hand gets extended. No lands for Manfield, and Brad Nelson picks up this match, keeping his top 8 hopes alive. Brad, a little bit known for more of being a standard player these days and dominating standard at the high levels, but he's kind of picked his lane now. He said he talked to Jake about it, and he's decided that the most successful modern players pick a deck and just know it super well inside and out. And John is his deck. He picked it.
Fair enough.
What he wants. All right, let's take a look at our turbo match here. Benjamin Alms versus Jasper Johnson Epstein.
This is a couple of 10 and 1s.
Jasper's on burn.
Yep.
It's kind of his religion. He's a well-known red player. Now, what about Benjamin? What is Benjamin up to? I see he's got a Raging Ravine. I'm assuming that means he's playing Jund.
You are correct, sir.
All right.
Yeah, glancing over the deck list, looks like a pretty straightforward Jund list.
Well, he's going to
Dark
take a couple
Confidants.
of damage. There's Dark Confidants. Yeah, okay. All right, well, we're trading resources early here. We saw Liliana take down an Eidolon of the Great Revel, but then Liliana got hit by a Goblin Guide, but now there's a Tarmogoyf to follow up for Benjamin.
It's interesting. With the Jund being a decent chunk of the field, I mean, one of the 3 big decks, only 15%, but still, it does open things up for this burn deck. Like, it seems like it might be a good field to be a red mage.
Jasper seems pretty comfortable.
I mean, the Jund mana base hurts. Stings a little. More than a little.
It's also very slow.
Goblin Guide is chump blocking Tarmogoyf. Now, Scavenging Ooze certainly helps from the Jund side of things. Jasper wants that thing dead right away. Boros Charm.
Boros Charm you?
Once again, standard sealed competitors, your seatings for the player meeting and build are on the Chandra banner in the middle of the room.
Looks like Jasper just passed the turn back. Now Benjamin has the option of getting that Raging Ravine running. Looks like he got volleyed.
Yeah, Jasper's being forced to kill creatures defensively.
He's still throwing some heat at the head there. That was an Atarka's command.
No, Tarmogoyf too big. Sure looked like that was Benjamin Alms winning.
It did look like that to me too.
Yeah, it was. Jund side has to be particularly happy to get game 1.
Here's Goblin Guide on turn 1. It's going to reveal an Inquisition of Kozilek. You'd be shocked to see that here. No, he's going to conserve some life, though. And also he's going to use his fetch land proactively. He saw what was on top of his library. He didn't want it. He's going to get a Blood Crypt and just Lightning Bolt the Goblin Guide right now. But that does leave the opening for Jasper to land an Eidolon, which, yeah, it all piles up here, right? Tick-tock. And there's Lava Spike and Riftbolt. Yeah, so this is going to be that Inquisition, but this is getting out of hand here. It's like double Atarka's command Lightning Bolt.
Takes an Atarka's command. You get another one?
You got a Duress. Okay. Leave you with an Atarka's command. Rift Bolt comes off suspend and hits Benjamin Alms. Benjamin has sufficiently torn apart Jasper's hand here. Does not have a threat, though. And he can't just sit here forever. What is this, Liliana? Yep. Plus Liliana leaves Jasper Johnson Epstein completely out of cards. He did respond, of course, with the Tarkus command.
Red for competitors, as time in the round, after the player finishes your turn, you have 5 additional turns.
Ooh, Kitchen Finks now for Benjamin.
Is he going to Liliana himself?
He just did.
That's the life from the Kitchen Finks.
Yeah, he must have been within burn range there and wanted to make sure that he was out of range of a spell.
Wow, there was a Tarkus command, and there's another burn spell off the top. So
wow.
Even with Liliana to kill my own
Did
Kitchen
you see the
Finks.
steeple fingers from Jasper? Man, I'm sure there was an evil laugh accompanying them, but wow.
On to game 3.
Wow, I got to say, after I saw that Kitchen Finks come back twice that turn, I didn't think that Jasper was going to be able to finish him that quickly.
2 draw steps.
Benjamin certainly tried his best there, killing his own Kitchen Finks for 2 life.
Inquisition. I'm guessing you get Eidolon here.
Eidolon, Lavamancer is a choice.
Takes the Eidolon. Oh, another one off the top.
Oh, hello. That's how that game works.
Jasper's on very good terms with the top of his deck.
Yeah.
That's what we've seen this match. Drawing perfect.
Wow.
Perfect.
And not hitting. He's also on good terms with the top of Benjamin's deck. No land.
Hey, sometimes it's good to be the red mage.
Wow. Yeah, this is just ugly at this point.
Oh, free land off the Goblin Guide. What do you terminate? Yeah, kind of got to go for the Eidolon. Now what?
Now he wants to play Tarmogoyf and Inquisition in the same turn.
Sure. Seems reasonable.
Don't think he has that option. He's a little choked on black mana here. I think his turn, he wants it to be Inquisition and Abrupt Decay, but he can't cast both. Interesting, you see that Jasper did bring in Path to Exile for those Goyfs to get him out of the way.
Sure.
Searing Blaze hits the yard. Okay, well, that wasn't bad, except for...
Scavenging Ooze, clear a path, and smash you.
Wow. All right. So
Jasper Johnson Epstein.
Yeah, he's gonna
11 and 1
now. Yeah, so he's well on his way potentially to a top 8. That will do it though for round 12 here from Oklahoma City.